Hello, everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Welcome to This Week in Metals, the first This Week in Metals of 2021.
Right.
With me is my colleague, Peter Thomas. How are you?
It's all good. Very excited. It's like we're going to have a very interesting new year. All I can tell you is if you're not hedging, you're in trouble. It's just
Right.
been crazy. And the excitement, get your Dramamine ready because you're going to get an upset stomach this year.
Yeah, well, let's since this is the first of 2021, let's just give a real quick
Yeah.
overview of 2020. Gold ended up the year up 24%. That's a great year.
Right.
So it's the best year I
That
think
is a great year.
since 2010. So best year in a decade in terms of gold's performance. Silver was
Yeah,
up
it's been wonderful.
50%. Rocking good year in silver. Platinum 11%.
Yep.
Palladium 26%. And our friend
Yeah,
copper.
Palladium was a monster. Yeah.
Yeah, copper was up almost 26% as well, 25.7.
Oh yeah, very very interesting year all across the board, and really base metals too across the board. I mean, iron, nickel, zinc, everything was moving. I mean, we could not get enough product out there this year.
Yeah. So then 2021 rolls around, and the first trading day of the year last Monday, gold jumps 2.5%. It was a rocking good day, set an 8-week high at 1959.29
8-week high, yeah.
by midweek, and then things happened.
Kaboom! It kind of looked like one of those Roadrunner cartoons where he hands him the anvil and he goes off of the cliff. It was not a pretty day, and all of the gains from before were taken away. But we took out some very serious numbers, and I'm looking forward to Sunday evening in Hong Kong to see what's going to be happening.
Yeah. So, up 2.5% on Monday, down 3.6% on Friday, with a big drop on Wednesday, as well as the runoff elections results started coming in, and it became obvious that the Democrats were going to
Yeah.
take control of both houses of Congress. The expectation then became that stimulus was on the way, additional stimulus, and
On the way, yeah.
in fact,
Exactly right.
President-elect Biden said on Friday that he's prepared to rush through not just the $2,000 payment to get money in the hands of the people, but stimulus that's going to amount to trillions of dollars, and trillions on top of the
Trillions of dollars
trillions.
and large amounts were the numbers used. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
that's an interesting number. How much? A large amount. Okay.
right.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Speaking of large amounts, by the way, the ETFs released their annuals. And real quick for our guys so that everyone knows where we're at, the gold ETFs were up 30% last year. And silver, this was the amazing one to me. The ETF was up 46%. So pretty staggering numbers as far as gains. So all of you that were buying paper metal had a marvelous year, and let's hope it continues.
Well, those numbers are reflective of the movement in the spot price as well. So if you're buying physical metal,
Yes.
you had a great year as well. And so let's talk about physical metal. U.S. Mint data
Yeah,
came
let's
out
do that.
for 2020. Gold coin sales were up 455% from
It's the number I
2019.
got.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's amazing. It's the best year for gold, U.S. gold
In
coins
history.
since
In history.
since 2016,
I
actually.
don't think we saw 455% 16, but maybe we did.
Yeah,
Did you happen to notice silver number, Pete?
up 100%. It doubled from
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah, again, yeah. in silver coin. And those of you that follow Zaner Metals on Twitter and also our followers on LinkedIn, and put out a special little report as far as consumption of silver coins. Please hunt it down. Maybe Pete can even add it to this, because it looks like we are going to be getting the possibility of another shortage of metals, and fairly soon. And that
Yeah.
is my personal opinion. Nothing from the director writer. That's just the way I'm looking at consumption numbers right now.
Yeah. So, some interesting things happened last week. Again, sort of seemed to cue off of the Georgia runoffs. We saw interest rates start to rise midweek, and in fact, the
Yeah,
10-year yield
yeah.
went above 1% for the first time in 10 months, reached a high of 1.13%. But the dollar didn't really gain much benefit from that. So, in my mind, when we see treasuries dropping and continued weakness in the dollar, that smells trouble to me.
That's interesting. I'm glad you mentioned that. I looked at the numbers, and I was scratching it also. I did not see the weekly close for, was it, where did the 30-year end up? Where did we end up with the
Um,
long term?
I didn't see well, I saw the 30-year, but I don't know the number off the
Yeah.
top of my head. I'll put it below
Oh, okay.
when I do
Yeah, do that,
production.
because I'd really like to know what the big boys are betting long term. What they're paying for money right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's get that in, guys, too. I mean, these are just amazing numbers, and when you look at some of these numbers, think about it. Silver's low was 1240, let's say, and the high just recently was 24 to 27. I mean,
Almost
from
28.
$12 to 779 actually was the high. So I mean, we've had a wonderful year in the metals. The question is now, if we hold 22, we haven't really lost anything. I mean, the people that started putting on with us last year, Peter, are still really not hurt.
Yeah. So silver ended up last week down 3.7%. And that's after setting a 4-month high. I had the high at 27.92, so almost $28. So from a 4-month
Perfect.
high to a
Okay.
3-week low. What I liked about silver is it held the trend line off of the March low, and then it closed back above the 100-day moving average. So while silver unquestionably got shellacked last week, um, I'm not
Oh yeah.
necessarily uh, thinking that the top is in. I am viewing the correction, the decline in both gold and silver as corrective in nature. We need to see some upside
Yeah.
performance over the short term to kind of bolster confidence in that outlook. But overall, it's silver in particular didn't look too bad, and you know how I cue off of the gold silver
Oh,
ratio a
that's what I'm
lot.
saying, buddy.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
gold silver ratio
Wow.
still
Was
looks
it
weak.
40 at one point? Right? Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely amazing. So between gold and silver, I mean, and taking a heavy shellacking, it really wasn't as bad if you step back as it looked. If you don't mind, could you tell me what happened in Dr. Copper? Where are we in the industrial metal?
So copper, as I mentioned, was up almost 26% last year, but
Right.
the first week of 2021 it was up almost 5%. Set an 8-year high at
There we go.
3.73%,
Yep.
$3.73. Um, Clear to our 368.67 was our Fibonacci objective on the upside. So
Okay.
we surpassed that. Um,
Which you called about 6 months ago. So congratulations.
so I think that I'm a little bit concerned about the outside day with a lower close on Friday. But
Right.
again, the market still looks so good. If we get a little bit of a pullback, I think people view it as a buying opportunity. So the next
Okay.
resistance levels on the upside, 379.10 from February 2013,
All right.
383.80 from September of
Oh, that's a big number.
2012,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
398.80 from February of 2012 are the next resistance levels on the upside. Um,
Well, let me interject something here. The fourth quarter rally in copper in dollars added $1.3 trillion in value to the top 50 producing mining companies. I mean, they're talking about a inflow or an influx to copper production, mining, copper profits, dividends paid, jobs created of $250 billion of capitalization because of the rally you just mentioned. So copper is healthy on multiple fronts, Pete.
yeah. I want to circle back around to autos in a second, but because it's relevant to the
Oh, please
PGMs
do.
as well. So let's
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
platinum was only down 0.8% last week. So pretty buoyant in the
Yeah.
face of a, kind of a broad-based sell-off.
Under
Uh,
pressure. Yeah. Yep.
Palladium, and I would also say that uh, the so it's at a 4-year high at 1130.66 before the midweek sell-off started. Um,
Right.
and again, we've mentioned this for weeks and weeks and months about the hydrogen technology. It's a big part. It's a significant part of both Chinese and EU plans to go carbon neutral.
So,
Now,
yeah.
the Biden administration has been kind of lukewarm on hydrogen, and my guess
That's
is that
interesting.
the oil lobby and the
Well, I
and
mean, obviously the oil lobby has power. I mean, this was the first year in history that we didn't buy exported oil from some ever. Was just last week, I believe. So there's a lot of pressure coming out of the Middle East. But I think with the young lion roaming about, he's going to have to pay attention to hydrogen and hydrogen offshoots and hydrogen. I came across, believe it or not, I contacted a company by the name of Pacific Northwest National Laboratories, which has invented a process whereby they use a graphite. I'm sorry, I know I should have my lab coat digitally, but they've invented a process where they immerse cobalt with a carbon slurry, and they create a membrane, and that membrane extrudes the hydrogen oxygen separation. It really looks like it has a lot of potential, like a lot of platinum out of the picture. Now, Greg and I was so shocked by it when I read the scientific paper on it that I called him at his laboratory and chatted with some of his group. They agreed to have another conversation with me to talk about a release of some of the production numbers. But right now, it's still a prototype. Let's be real clear on it. But it looks very interesting for you. Anybody that happens to run across it, the cobalt replacing platinum seems to be a possibility. But remember, getting cobalt out of Africa is a very interesting process in and of itself. And we are going to be having a special with a group of miners. One of the products that they do in, one of the few actually out of Canada that bring cobalt in. His name is Grizz. He's a great guy, old miner, been digging holes in the ground for 40 years. And we're going to try to do a special with him. And we'll try to talk about sourcing cobalt in case this does happen.
Sounds good. Um,
Yeah.
I would also just real quickly, Palladium was down 3.3% last week, but still tracking in kind of a bullish channel within that very broad range that occurred early in 2020. Um, we did, you did primarily a great interview with Dr. David Davis 2 weeks
Oh, yeah, it
ago.
was interesting.
So
He's a great guy.
if you're interested in the PGMs, I encourage you to go back to that video. We had some audio difficulties, but it's worth muddling through. There's great
Yeah,
information
I
in
mean,
there.
it was coming out of South Africa, and actually on his phone, he has an app that the government now has that they send out. And they go, "Oh, by the way, we're shutting off the power in 37 minutes." And we're talking to him, and he picks up his phone. And he goes, "Oh, my app just says we're going to be running out of electricity." I'm like going, "Well, that answers the electricity question I was about to ask you." It was a great show. Please, he 40 years he ran those mines in South Africa, and you really if you want to get the truth, that's the place to go. Another thing, Pete, is what happened with the numbers going into India? I didn't see them. What was the intake?
Oh, right. So gold imports into India were a mere 275 and a half metric tons. It was the lowest import number since 2009 in gold. We went back to gold
Yeah,
here. So
yeah. No.
um,
I mean, just remembered that I didn't see that number, and I wanted our viewers to have it.
yeah, and so it's and
Wow.
it was actually the second consecutive decline in imports, annual decline in imports. And it's largely because of the price. I mean, last year the domestic
Yeah.
price of
Yeah.
gold in India was up 30%, and they are very price sensitive shoppers.
Yes, they are. Absolutely right.
All right,
Absolutely right. Could
let's
you give us some stats as to what happened and what's coming up?
Well, I wanted to talk about auto sales. We've been
Perfect.
with regards to our outlooks for copper and the PGMs. We've been paying a lot of
Right.
attention to auto sales, and they've been coming back smartly. But the Economist said that they're not expecting uh, the auto industry to reach 2019 levels in 2000 until 2023. And so yeah, I guess that kind of makes
Okay.
sense. And
Well,
but it shows that there is ongoing upside in terms of
all
auto
right.
demand. Um,
And a lot more of those are going to be EV for that matter, right?
right, and that takes us into GM announced showed their new logo, which looks very much like a plug, and they are
Oh,
committed
okay.
to do 30 new electric vehicles by 2025.
That soon. That's
Yep.
impressive.
So
Wow.
this gets back to something you've said time and time again on our shows. A conventional automobile has between
Right.
18 and 49 pounds of copper.
That's correct.
Hybrid electric vehicles have approximately 85 pounds of copper.
And on the higher end models, they can go up to 120 pounds.
Goes up beyond. These are data from the Copper Development Association.
Okay.
Plug-in hybrids, approximately
Ah.
132 pounds of copper.
Ooh, excuse me. I missed it by 12 pounds. That's a big
Ba-
number.
Battery electric vehicles, up to
Okay.
183 pounds of copper in a battery electric vehicle. So
And
I mean, if you
Tesla's now adding nickel to that battery. So we're adding new stuff to the mix too, which is phenomenal. Thank you for that.
right, so it's a 446% difference between your average conventional vehicle and a battery electric vehicle.
All our scrappers out there, pay attention. Their demand is going to be there. Okay.
Right, exactly. So
Yeah.
that's the point, and I think it's reflective. Certainly, again, a topic that we've talked about,
Right.
especially with the Democrats having control of both houses of Congress, that there's going to be a lot of the trillions and trillions that Mr. Biden has spoken of are going to be
Uh-huh.
directed towards those green initiatives,
Let's hope
including
so.
electric vehicles. So,
I talked earlier in the week about the colloidal suspension needed to create solar cells, which is silver, and the pressure it's going to put on the silver miners, because we're talking about massive tonnage. And so silver and copper, both with the green initiative, will see a tremendous drawdown.
right. And so beyond even solar, according to the LBMA, the auto
Ah,
industry use of silver is expected to increase by 200% over the next 20
that's all.
years. That's
Oh
all.
my goodness. That's all. It's only 200%.
That's
It,
all.
it's sort of like when they say, oh, by the way, we're going to increase the consumption of platinum by 123%. And oh, by the way, we're down almost 40% on production, but we don't expect the price to go much higher.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
I get confused easily, I don't know, but I have to agree with you. This is our exciting times. Our scrappers, call us for hedging plans. Don't run headlong in there. Let us lay out a plan for you. And also, by the way, where the heck is crude oil in all of this mishigash here? We're up around
Well,
50 now, right?
yeah. Went above 50 last week. And so again,
Right.
that's reflective. So when oil rises, so here's the thing, that they keep saying, part of the reason that we've seen these run up in commodities, I think, is that there's this inkling, and particularly the rise in interest rates last week, is
Okay.
that there's this inkling that inflation's gotta show up eventually, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
trillions of
Oh
trillions
yeah.
in liquidity, and there's going to be trillions and trillions more.
Oh yeah.
M1 and M2 have gone parabolic, and
Oh yeah.
they keep saying that there's no inflation, that we're below 2% inflation. Well, when the inflation really hits the consumer is when gas prices rise, and so to see
Yes.
oil back above
Exactly right.
$50, we might start seeing, a rise in CPI closer to the 2%
Very
target.
valid point.
Not that the
Yes.
Fed's going to care. They've made it abundantly
Keep
clear
printing, baby.
that they're
Yeah.
going to be comfortable with inflation above the 2% target.
Interesting term.
So
Yeah. We're
um,
we're comfortable with the train wreck.
yeah,
Everything's fine. Yeah.
and so I think that whole scenario sort of plays into my belief, anyways, that the decline in gold is corrective in nature. That as
Yeah, I agree.
inflation does take hold, gold, of course, is the classic hedge against inflation, and
Look at gold. Look, if you're a brokerage house, if you're a 401k holder, if you're an IRA Roth individual, if you're saving for the future, putting your clients into some physical exposure, we can arrange it with our vaulting. All of our vaulting connections all over the world. We can diversify it. We can put brand name metal in. If you're a brokerage house and you want real exposure, we will fix you up. If you're individuals, call us. We can hook you. We can put part of it in there. You need to be into the metals coming into the 2021 cycle. It really looks like a good long-term shot. And even if it doesn't go to the moon, anything over point 0.2 looks to me like a whole lot better than a CD. So hopefully we'll see a little return here. And long-term metals have proven out since all going back to Tutankhamun when they were building the pyramids.
right, and it's very well documented that an allocation to gold in a diversified portfolio results in better overall performance. And so I think with
Absolutely.
that,
And
we've
not a
covered a
big
lot.
amount. Yeah, don't get crazy. A small amount regularly, dollar cost averaging kind of way to go. And for larger brokerage houses that have clients that are asking for metal, we can do that for you. So don't forget Zaner Precious Metals. We're here to help you. We are a registered brokerage house.
ZanerPreciousMetals.com is where you go.
There you. All right.
All right,
So,
everybody.
next week, hopefully, Pacific Northwest and I and their scientists we will have sat down, tried to figure out where we're at with the hydrogen bleeding from the membrane, and couple of more numbers we're going to be looking at for you out of China. So stay with us. Give us a like today and give us a follow. So this is in your mailbox every week. Our numbers just keep growing and growing. We try to get the strongest and the best factual we can to you to make informed decisions and what direction you should be going in.
Wonderful. Thanks, Pete. I'm Peter Grant with
You
Zaner
bet.
Metals in Denver. Have a great trading week.
Pete Thomas, thank you for coming in and seeing us. We really appreciate you.